Hola, mis amores. How is your spirit today? It's your girl, Janori Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual guide to intuitive thought leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their inner voice, overflowing with inner peace, and enjoying their lives every single step of the way. And today we're going to be talking about trauma, triggers, and triumphs. So if you are here for that, you are in the right place. This is actually episode number 11. 11, y'all. 11. This is a big deal in YouTube world to do 11 videos in a row, and I've done that. So it's actually video 11 of our 45-day series called The Path to Inner Peace. And today I'm going to be sharing a video that's part of the theme of the week, which is leading while healing. This is a very sensitive and it's not even sensitive, it's a very close topic to my heart because I'm a healer and I'm also a leader, and being I'm constantly putting myself in a place where I can remain in alignment as I'm leading others by first leading myself. So I'm excited for what we're covering this week and all the things I'm sharing with y'all in this process. Who's gonna get the most out of this? So the people that are gonna get the most out of this video are those of you who are intuitive, who are thought leaders, that are focused on mastering the art of authenticity. I'm talking about those of you who are very clear on desiring 2024 to be your year, where you are focused on being unapologetic about who you are, where you are focused about being bold about who you are, and showing up as the most authentic version of yourself, no matter who's in the room, y'all. Those of you that are going to get the most out of this are going to be the ones that desire to go on that journey, overflowing with inner peace, overflowing with mental calm, and enjoying yourself being in the present moment, because the present moment is all that is. So I wanted to talk about this because I remember what it was like before I began facing my triggers. Working with me as a mentor is a very triggering experience. And the people that get the most out of working with me are people that are desiring to bring to the light the shadows of the to bring the light into the shadows of their subconscious so they can see themselves in a different way. And I know that that's powerful because I've been there. I've lived that life. Before I was facing my triggers, I used to constantly be in the energy of victimhood. I used to constantly feel like when life will happen, it was happening to me. I was getting punished when bad things were going on. I was being treated badly for decisions that I made in the past. And that dynamic often felt very disempowering for me because it put me in a position where I didn't feel like I could change my reality. I didn't feel like I can control things that were happening. I didn't feel like I can change the things that were happening for my favor. So I know, y'all, how real this is. I know firsthand how impactful it is to our well-being, because when I was in the energy of victimhood, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating well because I was so focused in the mind, replaying the events that had guided me to where I was. And this is why we're doing this video, because I know that those of you that are thought leaders, y'all just like me. I'm you, you are me. And because of that, I'm really familiar with the things that a lot of us experience. Authenticity requires facing ourselves, y'all. And I want to be the one to tell you that right now, because oftentimes that's something that we have not learned to do as thought leaders. We have learned to hide. And I want you to hear me out on this. We have learned to hide the parts of us that we don't like. We have learned to hide the parts of us that feel uncomfortable. We have learned to hide the parts of us that bring out feelings of discomfort in other people. And this is not in alignment with being the most authentic version of ourselves, because authenticity requires that we bring peace with the darkest parts of our shadow. And that we know that when we are bringing peace in those darkest parts of our shadow self, we are actually allowing ourselves to receive the invitations to transmute that darkness into light. And there's a lot of beauty in doing this. There's a lot of joy in doing this. And that's why we're doing this video, because I know how important this is for us. If you committed to authenticity, hiding is not an option for us. So here's what you're going to learn today. The first thing I'm going to share with you is the number one reason why facing my triggers is a non-negotiable for me. And it really is a non-negotiable for any intuitive thought leader out there. We got to face ourselves. Number two, I'm going to share with you what facing my triggers has looked like for me as a thought leader. Because when I'm in that energy of victimhood, I'm not facing the triggers. And when I am in my energy of an architect, like I shared with y'all in episode 1 and 2, I do face them and things are so much different for me. And I want you to know what that looks like because as a thought leader, things have kind of shifted the more I grow. Then I'm going to share with you the 3 ways that facing my triggers has made my life 1,000 times better. And I say this because it's true. I want you to see what is possible for you because of what has been possible for me in my life and even in the lives of some of my clients. And then I'm going to give you the bonus for staying to the end. You know she'll be looking out for you. I'm going to share with you the best way for you to face your triggers so that you can look at your trauma differently. And you can turn that trauma that came so heavy at times and that feels so overwhelming at times into triumph that feels light and liberating and empowering. Now, before I jump into this, I want to talk to those of you that are ready for the next step because I know that there are some of you watching that are like, I'm into whatever Nori is giving. Whatever your Nori is giving, more please, I want some of that. So for those of you, I have a very special invitation I want to make to you. Right now, if you click below the link in this video in the description box, you can actually apply for a authenticity audit with me. These are about 40-minute conversations you and I are going to have where we're going to look at where you are right now so that we can get really clear on what is it going to take for you to step up into your authenticity more boldly in 2024. These calls are only for those of you that are serious. You actually get to apply for one of these calls. And if you see in the description box below and you don't want to apply for the call, you want to absolutely get the call, you can actually buy these calls. You can buy an authenticity audit in the description box. Those of you that desire to really explore if we are in alignment, though, I am giving 5 of them away this week for those of you that are interested so that we can explore if I am the right mentor for you in 2024 as you up-level your authenticity. So make sure you apply for one of those. It's in the description box below. I feel like I'm getting the hang of this YouTuber thing. Okay. So y'all know I always bring you a story. And I like to tell you a story because it's my way of telling my story. And it's also my way of helping you see what's possible in your life. So this actually happened in I want to say it was 2019. I feel like it was 2019. In 2019. So in 2019, I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you've been following this series, you know that I moved from DC where I was with my husband and we quit our jobs and we decided to live off our retirement while we were living in St. Pete. So when we were living in St. Petersburg, Florida, part of what we did was we decided that we were going to launch our business and go into the space of consulting and coaching because that was the area where JP and I had a lot of expertise. JP's the name of my husband. And when I got into this, I had no idea how spiritual the journey of entrepreneurship was. I actually thought it was all about making money. Let's make money, let's make money, let's make money. And I remember working with a mentor at the time. I believe I was working with Sam Ovens right about this time. And I was working with Sam Ovens, who's super dope. He's no longer doing consulting, actually. He now has an entire different business. But when I was working with Sam, he used to talk about doing outreach and doing direct outreach, messaging people that I thought were a good fit for my program and seeing if they would be interested in working with me. This is not unique to Sam. Any mentor that you work with in the area of sales is going to encourage you to do some sort of outreach, or it's going to talk about that being an option. So it sounds easy, right? Like reach out to people, see what the vibes are. Here's the thing that your girl didn't know. Here's the thing. There was a day where I had scheduled on my calendar to do some direct outreach, to message some people. These weren't even people that I didn't know. Some of them I didn't know, some of them I didn't know. And when I tell y'all, this day changed my life. Because I remember sitting in my office in St. Pete And I believe that I was scheduled to do five to 10 outreach messages. And that whole day, y'all, the whole fucking day, your girl sat at her desk like I'm sitting right now, and I bawled my eyes out. I wept and I wept and I wept and I cried for an entire day. My husband had no idea this was going on with me in my office. I cried for an entire fucking day because I couldn't get myself to send a message. I could not get myself to send a message. And I was weeping. I was crying because I couldn't understand why the fuck was that happening. Like, why am I having a hard time sending messages to people to work with me? Like, I do this. I'm super outspoken. I'm very outgoing. Like, what is the problem? And I remember weeping and weeping and weeping for a whole fucking day because I couldn't get myself to do that. And this is the number one reason, y'all, why facing my triggers is a non-negotiable for me. Because what was happening in that moment where I was weeping and crying is that I was experiencing what is called reliving my trauma. And the trauma that was being triggered by this experience was being abandoned. When I was a child, my parents, both my mother and my father, who weren't together at the time, moved to the United States in search of the American dream. And I stayed with my aunts and my grandmother back in Honduras. And that caused this fear of being abandoned within my subconscious. Child self-me didn't know that. Adult self-me knows that now. And this is why the number one reason why facing my triggers is non-negotiable for me is because authenticity requires being at peace with my shadow. In that moment when I was looking to do that outreach, I was actually feeling all the fear that if I reached out to those people and we developed a relationship, that they would reject me or that they would abandon me. And I was feeling that so deeply in my soul that all I can do was cry and cry and cry that whole day. Because for me in that moment, I was actually facing that trigger at a conscious level for the very first time. And it was fucking me up. It was fucking me up. And it ended up being a beautiful thing for me because it helped me see what was on the other side of that. And this is why this is a non-negotiable for me, because when I face my triggers, I go and I look at what I may not know is happening underneath the subconscious, and I allow myself to see what's possible. And this is why this is so important, because being authentic requires that I look at who I am. I can't be authentic if I'm faking who I am. Authenticity and phoniness does not go hand in hand. I can't be authentic if I'm not showing up truly. And authenticity means looking at those triggers, looking at what's underneath who I've been in the world and seeing how I'm showing up to that. And that's the number one reason why this is a non-negotiable for me, because I know that there are things underneath the subconscious that are running the show that I may not be aware of. And those were the things that was happening. Those were things that were running the show when I had that experience. The second thing I want to share with you is what facing my triggers looks like for me as a thought leader. Because I know that this is for thought leaders. So I want us to see what that looks like, because some of you may not be facing your triggers in this way. You may be running from it. You may be avoiding from it, which is super normal. I used to do that too. I still do at times. There are times when that's the way I react in moments. So here's what facing my triggers looks like for me as a thought leader in the path to inner peace. Because I told you, I'm looking at doing this with inner peace. She is not pressed. There's one thing I want to share with you, and that is being willing to feel my feelings. Before that moment when I sat on my desk and I was like, let me do this outreach, I don't think I had ever held space to feel the feelings of rejection and abandonment inside of me at a conscious level. I had never done that. And being a thought leader that's also leading other people and that's doing this in the path of inner peace, it is so important and critical that I'm holding that space for myself, to feel what's inside me, to hold space for my heart, to hold space for what's present for me. It's important that I'm honest with myself, because most of us haven't really learned to be honest with ourselves. We've learned to be honest enough. I'll say that this is happening just enough. And in that moment, I really had to see things differently. And being a thought leader, it has meant being willing to learn from myself. That is one of the biggest things I want you to take with you from this series, is that it's very important that you learn about yourself. And that's what it has to look like for me when I'm in those moments where I'm being really triggered and the trauma that I experienced as a child is coming to the surface. I'm being called to learn about myself and to use that learning to turn it into a triumph for myself. Which actually brings me to the next thing I want to share with you, which is the 3 ways facing my triggers has made my life 1,000 times better. Am I the only one drinking out of mason jars? Super into the mason jar situation. Okay. There are 3 ways that facing my triggers has made my life 1,000 times better. The first way I want to share with you is taking less things personally in my business. If you are here, you likely either run a business, you run a company, or you're currently in the process of launching a company or a business or a venture. So you know that it is very, very easy to take things personally. You've experienced it, especially in our business, especially when we have not taken the space to look at how trauma impacts us and how these experiences from the past carry that energy through into our present moment. And one of the things that has really changed in my life is my ability to take less things personally in my business. Before I began to really look at myself in this way, before I began to face my triggers, I would take everything fucking personally in my business. Everything. Did I say my price and the person said it was too high? I'm taking that personally. Oh, do I need to change my price? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? If someone says, no, I don't want to work with you, is something wrong with me? Like, am I the reason why they don't want to work with me? Like, what did I do? Could I have done something differently to make that right? I used to take everything personally. If my clients didn't do the things they said they were going to do and didn't get the results that they could have gotten because of their actions, what could I have done to help them take the action? What could I have done differently? Why did I fail them? That was what would come up for me in those moments. I would take that stuff so personally and so to heart that it would drive me crazy. And it would constantly feel like I was a failure in moments that I was actually an overwhelming success. So taking things less personally in my business was such a huge win for me in this process. And he made things a lot more joyful for me as a mentor and as a business owner, because now I'm available to see that I'm responsible to my clients, not for my clients. I'm responsible to ensure they have a system to get to results. The result is up to them to experience those results. And when people say no, it's not about me. It's not they're saying no to your nori. I'm fucking popping. They're saying no to what's being presented to them. They're saying no based on where they are. They're saying no based on what they feel in alignment with them. It's not an attack on me. And I used to think it was. And now that I don't carry that burden, I'm able to be more authentic. I'm able to be more honest. I'm able to say the thing that feels uncomfortable to say to the clients because I know it's what needs to be said. You feel me? You picking up what I'm putting down, babes? And that's only one way. The second way that it has made my life 1,000 times better is that I've taken that ability to not take things personally in my business and I've transferred it over to my marriage. When I got married to my husband, I used to take a lot of things personally. Everything I used to take it personally. Sometimes JP would breathe and I would take it personally because that's the state I was in. That's the mindset I was in. That's what I had been conditioned to do. And after looking at my triggers, and maybe one day I'll tell you about how much he triggered me in the dishes and how that supported me in being in this place, I was able to start to see JP differently and to not take things as personally as I used to. And when he would say things about, hey, you engage in this behavior, so you do these things and you say you're not going to do these things and I'm having a difficult time communicating with you because of that, I stopped making it seem like he was trying to come for me, especially because I'm from the Bronx. I stay ready. I stopped seeing it from that perspective, and I started to see maybe there's something my husband is seeing that I'm not seeing. And that has helped us have such a beautiful partnership. JP and I haven't argued in years. I want to say we haven't argued since we were in San Pete. And we've been in Fort Lauderdale for at least 3 years, going 3.5 years. So it's been a while, y'all. It is because of this ability to see what triggers me and allow whatever trauma that I experienced as a child to be a learning source. And because of that, I'm able to have such a more loving relationship with my husband and with my child, because kids are very triggering too. So it's been really beautiful to watch that transformation with my marriage. The third way that he has made things much better for me has been in my friendships, because I've also taken the ability to not see things personally in my business and in my marriage to my relationships with my friends, to my relationship with my family. And family has always been a very huge source of triggers for me, because as it is for most people, most leaders, our family, they the ones that got the ammo for us. And ammo, am I saying that correctly? Ammunition. And as a result, I'm able to have such more fully relationships with my parents, with my mother specifically. My biological father, he transitioned in 2013. My mother and I, though, we've been able to create a beautiful relationship because we are able to see beyond these triggers and beyond the trauma. We're able to transmute it into love and understanding and compassion. And that's what I love. It's just been a full transformation because I'm able to see my mother differently. I'm able to see her as her own person. I'm able to see my friends more loving and more compassionately. I'm able to hold space for them and what they have going on without making it about me. And I'm seeing that just like me, they have a lot of things going on. And I'm allowing them to see that they don't have to be perfect for me to love them. I'm allowing them to see that they don't have to be the great friend for me to love them, the great mom for me to love them, that I love them as they are. And that is something that is so important to me because I didn't always grow up with that. So it's very important for me that people feel that when they are in my presence, because I desire for them to connect to that part of themselves that feels loved. And I feel like that's what God put me on this earth to do. And when people are in my space, I want them to feel that. And I'm able to sit in that more and more because I'm facing my motherfucking triggers, y'all. And this is why I'm putting you on game, baby, because I want the same for you. I told y'all I'd be crying in this video, so you know the vibes. I'm going to give you the bonus. If you already made it with me this far, drop a sunflower for me in the comments below before I give you this bonus. And while you do that, do you want to work together? Would you like to work with me? Would you like to have me by your side and have my one-on-one support with you as you step into the most iconic version of yourself? Because I know 2024 is going to be your year. Every year is your year, obviously. You're iconic. Everything you do turns to gold. And I want to be there with you if that's what you desire. If you desire to show up as the most authentic version of yourself, I'm the best person to work with. And because of that, I actually want to invite you to be a part of the Self-Trust Society because we are enrolling right now for 2024. The Self-Trust Society is a love offering I've created and curated for powerful thought leaders that are intuitives and that are determined to be the most authentic version of themselves and to do it full of inner peace because y'all are popping. We are popping. We don't got to be here on no struggle bus. We can enjoy life even in the moments that feel like valleys, just as much as the moments that feel like peaks. So I want to invite you to be a part of this experience. We're going to be together for 12 months. And in those 12 months, you and I are going to co-create your own personalized system so that you can collapse the time that it takes you to act on your intuition. Because I know the issue is not hearing your intuition. The challenge is showing up to the intuition and the things that the intuition is leading you to do with the same energy you show up to other things that other people share with you to do. And to do it full of inner peace, knowing that you're being authentic is all that matters. So I want you to be a part of this container. And to do that, you want to apply for a authenticity audit. These are the 40-minute conversations I have with you. I talked about them before in this video, where you and I can look at where you are. We can get really specific about what's impacting your ability to be authentic and hold space so that you can feel your feelings and you can allow yourself to take less things personally, because life is fucking popping. So to apply for one of these sessions, you want to click in the description box below and let's co-create some magic in your life. I am excited to hear from you and to do some magical shit in 2024, because that's the energy that I'll be on. Okay, Miss Amores, let's get into this bonus. You ready for a bonus? Let's get into this gold straw situation your girl got. So I think I got this from a place called Tomo. Okay, so the best way, I'm going to share with you the best way to face your triggers and do it in a way that you're going to up-level your inner peace with mental calm, because that's what I want you to focus on. This is, at this point in your life, it's no longer just about facing the trigger. It's about doing it with inner peace. It's about doing it with inner calm. And the best way to do this, I'm going to keep it simple for you. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Now, I know you already have a meditation practice. Most of the people that come into my world already do, especially those of you that are intuitive leaders, because we also tend to be empaths. So meditation is really important for us. So I already know you have that. Here's what I invite you to do with your meditation practice, though. When you're sitting in stillness, you want to look at yourself differently. You want to ask yourself, how is my spirit? Take time after you quiet yourself and ask, how is my spirit? And see what comes up for you. I ask this question every time. I actually ask this question in every video, because honestly, it's a very powerful question to sit with. And many of us don't sit with this energy, so we actually don't be fucking knowing what's going on with us while we are leading other people. And when you are leading other people, it is so important that you know what's going on with you. It is so important that you, as the nucleus that pours into others, as the well from which people come to gather the water from, is clear on who they are and how they're feeling, so that you are amplifying the energy that you desire and you are addressing the energy that's out of alignment. So sitting in stillness, asking yourself, how is your spirit? How do I really feel today? And be honest with yourself. Don't play with yourself. Be real. If you're feeling shitty, say that. If you're feeling excited, say that. Be open to what comes up for you from this perspective without judging yourself, because that's going to be the temptation, is to judge yourself for even having those feelings, because your life is so amazing. Like, how dare you feel shitty today? Or how dare you not enjoy what's happening in this moment? And in reality, sometimes you won't. And as soon as you realize that, you can shift to actually choosing to enjoy it. So take time to see what comes up for you and ask yourself, why is this present for me right now? Why do I feel this? Why do I feel this? Why is this emotion showing up? Be curious about yourself. That is the best way to face our triggers. Because when you do that, you begin to pay attention to how are you showing up to yourself. And then when you create that practice, it's a lot easier to navigate any triggering situation. And you'll be triggered. So especially if you come working with me, you're definitely going to be triggered in a very gentle, loving way. And I'm going to be there to support you. I also want you to know that it's going to happen. So for the next video, here's what I got for you. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how to calm the voice inside with self-compassion. I actually felt this is a very great topic to discuss in the next video, especially after we just talked about triggers, because the more you go and look at your triggers, the more you're going to find yourself with some voices popping up for you, or voice that popping up for you that may not be kind and compassionate. And it's important that you are kind and compassionate in this process. It's what really helps us turn those traumas into triumphs. And I want that for you. So I'm going to share with you what that looks like in the next video. So make sure you tune in for that. I'll be dropping that for you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, per usual. You know the vibes. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Those of you that are submitting your application to work with me, your application to have one of these authenticity audits with me. That's where we're going to land on your authenticity audits. We're just going to do that because I love that. It feels so aligned. I want you to know that I'm looking forward to you. I'm looking forward to chatting with you and getting to know you and being able to support you. Have an amazing rest of your day, mis amores. I am excited that you're here. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. My name is January Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual guide to intuitive thought leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their inner voice, overflowing with inner peace, and loving their lives every step of the way. And I'm here to make sure that you see things clearly. Remember, you are a vibe. Hasta luego, mis amores. See you in the next video.